Welcome to the Law, Your Money, and You. I'm Roberta Sapphire, an attorney in Sharon, Massachusetts, and we are here today with who we always are with, Camille.
Camille Barron, and I'm a financial advocate and healthcare advisor, also in Sharon, Massachusetts. You know, the last couple of times I've gone grocery shopping at the Stop and Shop in Norwood, there's been a robot
Different town, yeah.
on the floor of the Stop and Shop. And this robot goes up and down the aisles looking for things that have to be taken care of, like spills that have to be cleaned up.
Really?
Yes.
I never heard of that.
No, and I think his name is Marty. And some of the workers don't like him because they said that he's taken away jobs from other people.
Oh, that's another story.
That's a whole other story. But
Yeah.
I bring this up because people think of robots as something like that, but there's much, much more to robotics.
Right. And today we are so fortunate to have two young people, I call them our future leaders of America, Andrew Phillips and Shamama Siroon. And they are right here. We welcome you. And they're in Sharon High School, a local high school, but they're in just about what you're talking about, Team Unlimited, which is one of our Law, Your Money, and Use 501c3 projects, sponsoring them and helping with it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Andrew, for our audience, first of all, welcome here, but tell our viewing audience just what robotics is.
Yeah, thank you. Robotics is basically just like the study or the programming and building of robots, and normally we have those robots to have a purpose, essentially. And then the type of robotics that we do is that we're actually part of the First Tech Challenge, which is a type of competition for high schoolers, essentially, where we build a robot to achieve some kind of goal for the year.
Wow.
What do you mean achieve some type of goal for the year? Like building a robot?
Yeah, so basically each year we have a different challenge that's assigned to us, and then all the different teams throughout the world have to go and build a robot that like completes that task. So it could be like moving an object from like one side of a field to another, or like building a certain design on like a wall of a field, or just like anything like that.
Now, Shamama, he said all over the world. Are these all over the world students in your age or school grade, or how does that work?
So the type of robotics that we do, FTC robotics, that includes kids from grades 7 up to grades 12. So there are two other types of robotics. FLL is for grades 3 to grade 7.
What are these initials, FLL? What do they
So
stand for?
FLL is the first Lego League. So that's where they use different kinds of robots. So they're called NXTs and EV3s. So they're a lot simpler and they're a lot easier for them to program.
Are those with Legos?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can build them with Legos as well.
Robots
But what
with
we do,
Legos.
we actually have robots that we have to like build with metal, and we have to buy separate robotic kits.
Wow. And what is Team Unlimited?
Team Unlimited is actually the local Sharon Robotics team, and we've actually been around since 2002, and we're actually the first team in the world. See, now there's like tens of thousands of teams.
Really? The first in the world?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But we were the first one to register back in 2002.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yes. So you're building a robot?
Yes.
And how many are on your team?
Right now we have
12 people.
12. Can you tell us anything about the robot you're building?
So we just came off of last season, and last season our objective was we had a bunch of eventually cubes and spheres like on like different sides of a field, and our goal was to transfer these into like this raised lander in the middle of the field. So we had to take them from the crater, or is what we called it, and then we moved it into the top of this lander.
When you say field, are you talking a giant field or a room? What's a field?
So it's a 12-foot by 12-foot
okay.
area of space where we have foam blocks to prevent the robot from getting damaged.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay. That's called a field.
Yeah.
And each team has to have a field of the same size? Is that how that works?
Yeah, we have 4 robots that work on the field at once. So during like a match, we'll have 4 robots, 2 for one alliance.
What's an alliance?
So basically, the way that you score is that you move these minerals into the central lander, and you're allied with a teammate. So there'll be 4 robots, and there'll be 2 teams. So there'll be 2 robots per team.
So 2 robots per team. Shamama, what's a team then? You're one team, there's another team? Or
Yeah, so they're randomly assigned during the competition. A team that you're, like, if you're partnered with a team, the next round, if you guys progress, they might become your enemies. So you might actually have to play against them.
Mm-hmm.
And so your objective is to work with your team, figure out what your robot does best, what each robot does best, and then use that to your advantage to try and get the maximum amount of points possible.
Interesting.
And so how do you get these robots to do things? I mean, is it a programming thing or?
It's
what?
both. So like we start with these like kits essentially. It's just like regular metal pieces and everything, and we have to come up with a design and then build the robot ourselves. And then once we have that design and we have that basic like hardware robot built, then we need to have software. So we need to have it programmed. So we need to come up with the programming essentially.
Uh-huh. And do you do the programming?
Yes.
What kind of programming what do you use for the software?
It's Java based, so our software team works with that.
Wow, this is quite impressive. And
Java is what they use like in the registry of deeds. They say the other things that if you don't have Java, you can't download. Is
Kind
that
of,
what
yeah.
it is?
Yeah, it's like a common programming language. So it's like universal across a lot of things, but we just happen to use it for our robot.
And what kinds of tasks or what kinds of steps do you typically have to program in order for the robot to do what you said, to lift the item from here to there?
Well, so for in each competition, there are two objectives that the robot has to complete. So first of all, there's an autonomous section of the program, which means our team has no control over the robot. The robot has to do this itself. And so this year, what it had to do itself was it was attached to a raised lander. And
Attached
it had
to a what?
a raised platform.
Oh,
And so it had to lower itself onto the ground and reach a certain area of the field. And so for that, it had to do it all by itself. So our lead programmer had to program the robot when we pushed a certain button, it would automatically do that.
Oh.
And then for the rest of it, we actually use Xbox controllers to move the robot across the field, and our programmer has to program the robot so that it is so that it connects to the controllers and we're able to control the robot.
Now, do all the people of the team have the, what do you call it, that controls it? In other words, is this, like you don't want anybody else to find out about it, so who has knowledge of what each thing consists of?
So our whole team knows like essentially like, what the robot design is and like how it works and everything. And honestly, we do a lot of collaboration essentially because we have a lot of scrimmages and events before our competitions, and that's when we see other teams' robots, and then that's when you can gather ideas and like incorporate them into your own design and
Do
stuff
you
like
spy on them?
Yeah, essentially.
So
see what
robotics
they're
is a lot
doing?
more open. All the different teams share their ideas with each other and
Oh,
collaborate.
isn't that wonderful? That's
Yeah, it's like
wonderful.
encouraged spying.
Encourage spying, that's good. Now, do they ever tell stories, or they ever show you films or anything about robots taking over the world like they do in the movies?
Kind of like they have the intro video, right?
That doesn't
They kind of do.
secret. Do you think in 50 years everybody, like I remember years ago I said if the price goes down everybody will have a computer. Do you think in 50 years or less everybody will have a robot? You know, like answer the door, wash the dishes, you know,
I think so.
sweep the floor.
I definitely think to some extent. I'm not sure, obviously, to what extent where you're gonna have like a super robot in your home or just like something that will tell you the time or whatever. But I legitimately do think that robotics will become more and more of a common like everyday item.
Really?
And so many people already have like Amazon Alexas and Google
Yeah,
Homes in their
sure.
houses, and
Exactly,
they
yeah.
already do like tell me the weather, what
Yeah,
time is
right.
it?
Yeah.
So they already
Call
do so
so-and-so.
much.
Do you think that's a form of robotics?
Definitely, yeah,
Really?
definitely.
Even though they don't do any physical tasks?
No, there's still a
they-
lot of programming though on the side.
Yeah, I'm sure. I
It's
wonder
when
how
they
they know all
talk
those
to
things.
you in the middle of the night and you go, huh? I didn't say anything. What are you talking about? Have you heard stories like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. But what else now? Besides doing that, you I mean, there's so many questions to ask. Like, you'll be graduating soon. Who's taking over? I mean, it just continuously goes.
Yeah.
Are you
so-
seniors?
We're
No, we're
juniors.
Juniors.
So we have one more
One
year
more
of
year.
robotics. But we're already starting our application process, so we're having new applicants come in on our team, and they have to go through tryouts essentially to see who's the most motivated and who's capable of the most.
They have to go through what?
Tryouts.
Oh, tryouts.
Tryouts.
Oh, do you ever? Well, usually if somebody wants to, you let them in. But what is it? They have to have certain things to be able to take over and become a captain.
So the biggest thing is that we have like a limited amount of spots on the team. So when we are deciding who wants to be on the team, we need to like have tryouts and decide who is more motivated, who has more skill, and that way we can decide like we have the best team possible for the current year.
Well, what if somebody never did robotics before, but they're good at certain things? Like, what do they have to be good at? Physics or
I think the biggest thing, personally at least, for robotics, I think the biggest thing is like having motivation and being involved in the process. I think that anybody can learn robotics if they care and they really want to get involved in the team.
Do you ever have adults apply to be, I'm not going to, don't worry. Do you ever have adults, though, who want to be part of it?
No.
No, but I mean, adults can always help our team, like via administration and helping like with our funding, helping figure out all the legal processes. But other than that, adults aren't really allowed to participate in making or programming the robot.
Yeah, it's only up to 12th grade.
We did have the Sapphire Grant Group print up some pictures for you, which I'm going to ask next. There were 3 pictures, and it has to do with what you're doing in the future and what you do about going around to schools. Tell us about that, what you do, because you just don't build robotics. You implant knowledge or try to the other grades. Tell us about it. You start. Never mind, you start. No,
a large part of robotics is actually spreading STEM, or science, technology, engineering, and math, and spreading our just the word about robotics.
What is the STEM? Is that another organization?
It's the science, technology, engineering, and math. So just the 4.
Did you know that? Oh, you did? I don't.
Yeah,
Okay,
but we go around and try to teach as many people as we can about the engineering process and about designing and building stuff with a specific purpose in mind. So we've been going to the elementary schools. We've gone to a cottage elementary and had a half day of robotics education for them, where we had lessons planned out for 105th graders, and we're going to be doing the same for East Elementary this Friday.
Okay, so there's two different schools. Well, what have you been doing with that? I mean, tell us more about it.
So I volunteered for the college event a couple weeks ago, and essentially what we had is that we had 105th graders essentially. We had, for the whole second half of the day, we had different stations set up, and they would rotate throughout the different stations, and they would have different like STEM-based activities. So one of them would be driving our robot. One of them would be
driving a robot?
Yeah, we have
what
a robot.
What kind of robot is it?
It's the robot we have for this season. Like, we brought it there, that way they could try it out and like try moving the minerals into the lander and stuff.
And this is a robot that your team built?
Yeah, so this is our competition bot for last year.
Oh, for last year.
Yeah.
Oh, how exciting. So they can ride in the robot?
They can't ride in it, but they drive it. Like, they have a controller and they can drive it around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we'd be getting emails
this.
and everything.
Yeah,
how they
yeah,
want to
exactly.
ride in the robot. Well, one of the, I don't think you have it with you today, but one of those pictures was of, in fact, we're going to get one drawn by Shamama, who was a brilliant artist, and Andrew, who's just brilliant with all kinds of ideas. For our police officers are our friends' books. But I would love a picture of a robot for the Los Angeles Police Department, robot of the future. And that particular robot looks like it's 20 feet high and it has a jail cell on it.
Really?
Yeah, so wouldn't that be fascinating if they, so when you said ride or drive it, I was thinking, well, gee, they're going to have a robot where there's a cell. But go ahead, I'm sorry. Interrupt. I interrupted.
No, it's not like, you're not actually like in the robot or anything. You have a control, it's like remote controlled.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of our stations. Then some of the other stations we had a spaghetti building station, where essentially they had limited amounts of spaghetti and marshmallows, and they had to design who could build the tallest tower and like how exactly they would do it, as long as it would stay up and everything like that.
Raw spaghetti, I would assume.
Yeah, of course. Of course, yeah.
The kids must have been so excited, though, to participate in that.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Do you ever get any of them that want to now become part of this and join?
Well, that's part of why we actually hold these events, so that we can like foster an interest in robotics in these kids. So if any of the kids are interested in doing this, they're still too young to join our team, but there are plenty of first Lego League teams that they could apply to join.
Oh.
What are these Lego teams? I think I've heard of that with the Lego things. They do stuff like that?
Yeah.
So FLL, or that's the first Lego League. Essentially, it's like the level below us. So we're the first Tech Challenge, and they're the first Lego League. And essentially, theirs is also very robotics based, but it's like with Legos essentially. So they build with Legos, and obviously they have to program it to achieve certain tasks on a smaller field, let's say like this table size.
Wow.
You know what's interesting with the Lego? They have contests too. But what I found more interesting was the companies that have these competitions. Tell us about them. Have they ever, like, go down the future now? You started years ago. Go down to the future. Are they companies using any of these discoveries in their manufacturing and things? Do they take that? I mean, I would think they're having the contests and then using the results for their own businesses. Do you find that?
Well,
Do you
it's not
know?
exactly about the companies using the robots that teams create, but more that companies see that kids are able to create such robots with a specific task, and they know that if they, so for example, like hire a graduate from an FTC team, they know that this graduate student, if they give them a task, they'll be able to design and build something that can complete it. So it shows exactly what students are capable of.
And do you see that happening? Do you envision that that's going to happen more and more as time
Yeah,
goes on?
definitely. Yeah.
Are you seeing it now even?
Yeah.
Really?
Like first graduates, a lot of them like go into college in a STEM field, and then straight from there, they already have so much experience working and building and designing things. It's a lot easier for them to go into the
Oh my
workforce.
goodness, that is amazing.
Isn't that
Wow.
fascinating? That's
Yes.
fascinating. So when you go, what is that book there?
This is our engineering notebook for last year, and essentially this is just documenting our process for designing the robot and building it, and then as well as our outreach, which is reaching out to the community and spreading STEM ideas.
That's a thick book.
Yeah.
So is there
Wow.
a book like that for every year?
Yeah.
Yes.
And who keeps the books? Your mentors or you know?
They stay with the team mostly. So like we're operated like in a basement right now. So our previous years FTCs are
Sure, it's
also
a
in
good
here.
basement.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating is that comes out of it, and you can see you're both so well spoken, and you're such a credit to your family, the community, and to robotics. I mean, robotics is really what computers were years ago. Nobody heard of them, nobody had them, nobody had cell phones, and now those are passé. So this is the future robotics. Do you ever have people coming to your group and saying, we would like to do this or we would like to do that? I mean, I know we did. We wanted, we thought that this was a wonderful project, and I'm even more convinced now that it's
Absolutely.
wonderful. We're so glad you're a part of our team. So you're Team Unlimited, and we're unlimited too.
That's right, especially with you on it, on our team.
Yeah.
I used to think, as a child, you think about what's a robot, and you envision this metal. It looks shaped like a person with arms, but it seems like that's not the case anymore. Correct? A robot really doesn't. Robots can be any shape,
Yeah, of course.
Definitely.
any piece of equipment that performs a task that it's assigned,
Yeah.
right? And it follows the instructions. So the vacuum cleaner, the robot vacuum cleaners are an example of that.
Yes.
Oh, like
Oh, yeah,
Roombas,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Roombas.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say a few words. There was a movie years ago with Robin Williams, and he was a robot, and he asked his designer or something that he wanted to become a real person, and because he wanted to feel. That was it. So robots can't feel, but they gave him emotions and feel, and little by little they transformed, and he finally became a person,
Wow.
knowing that it would end because he fell in love. See, love.
Love prevails always. But that sort of raises a question. This may or may not be in your purview with robots, but artificial intelligence. I mean, is it likely that artificial intelligence would be part of the robotic programming?
Kind of to a certain extent. AIs are like more. I say they're more independent. Like they don't need to be. I'm trying to think of what I say. Basically, they are able to like adapt to many different tasks, and they can like access the internet and can do many different things. What we're doing right now isn't exactly artificial intelligence. We have parts of it that are like pre-programmed that we don't really touch. but I don't know exactly how much we'll end up using it in FTC in the future.
But we actually did use a form of artificial intelligence in a robot this year because in the part of the robot where we weren't allowed to touch it, so it was autonomous, the robot had to use a camera to view the spheres and cubes on the field, and it had to differentiate itself if this was a sphere or if it was a cube. So our lead programmer taught the robot how to be able to differentiate it by using, do you know what the name of the program was?
It was, I can't remember right now.
That's not
top of my head.
bad. Well, is a robot a computer?
I mean,
You're
I'd
right.
say computers, a robot needs to have a computer to function.
Yeah.
The computer is like where we do the programming, is like where we give the robot the brain, and then we kind of put that onto the robot itself.
That's fascinating. So now, do you ever have scouts coming around to the schools or something and say, you know, we would like you in our, we're doing a robotics program at such and such university. We would like you to be a part of it. Do we even have robotics in universities?
Not always at universities, like per se, but like just a couple weeks ago we had the Cambridge Science Festival, which was just like obviously a celebration, like a presentation of like all different types of STEM activities and like STEM ventures. And then we had a whole section for FTC robots. So we had a field there. We demoed our robot and we showed it off to the
Now,
people
what's
that are going to see.
FTC again?
First Tech Challenge. That's the
Oh,
challenge.
okay,
that we-
because I think of
Yeah.
Federal Trade Commission.
Oh yeah.
FTC. I'm thinking, what has that got to do with it? But so First Tech Challenge, and besides the robotics and teams like yours, are there companies? Is this it? The companies?
We don't usually get scouted by companies,
Oh.
but I mean, for example, a member of like the Cottage Street School, they came up to us and asked us to help present at this Cottage STEAM Night, and so events like that happen fairly often where adults come up to our team and ask if we want to show off our robot at certain events.
Wow.
Isn't that fascinating?
You know, a couple of years ago, I was listening to and some sort of an economic report that had just come out. I was happened to be listening to it on the radio, and one of the things was about jobs and the fact that there are companies that have jobs that they haven't been able to fill with graduates from this country, and they have gone over, or that they've had other people from other countries fill them. And part of the reason was because a lot of these were technical engineering type jobs, STEM type jobs. And this is very promising for the future because that will allow more and more employment in this country from our citizens in this country.
field.
You know, and that's quite encouraging because there was sort of a mismatch between what students were graduating
Oh, and
with
what the openings
and
are.
then what the openings actually were.
So you think in the future there's going to be more and more openings in robotics?
Well,
I can
may
see
or may not be
companies using,
may or may not specifically be robotics, but it's certainly going to be one of the areas. And the fact that it sounds like there's a trend developing. There are going to be more and more students, high school students who then become college students, who then graduate with those exact skills, the STEM skills, right?
Because this is more than a hobby. This is like going to be a profession in the future. If you can have a robot do this and a robot do that, or a robot catch, well, isn't it actually like smoke detectors in a way? Are they little baby robots that tell you if there's something in the air that's not good for you?
I guess by some definitions you could say it is, just by the fact that it's created to perform a specific task and it has a chip that allows it to do so.
Isn't that fascinating?
As long as there's no chips on the shoulder, it's all right.
I want to tell you something that you may not realize, but we're almost at the end of the show, and that's how fast it went by. See that? But we're at a phase of the show called "You've Got to Be Kidding." But this whole thing, if somebody ever told me about robotics and that, you'd say, "What?" You know, it's like the internet. Years ago, people said, what do you mean internet? There was no such word.
That's
and
right.
now it's like a thumb drive. Whoever thought your
Yeah.
thumb could drive? You know? Is that right? She's my best audience. You've got to be kidding. Oh, you've got
Oh,
to
we
be
have
kidding.
a very important you've got to be
We got a
kidding.
very important you've got to be kidding, and somebody took the top off. Ready for you got to be kidding? See these? These are a whole jar of Tootsie Rolls. Now we did a contest to guess how many Tootsie Rolls Or in the thing. You have to say you got to be kidding.
You gotta be kidding me.
At the financial reality field, because we bring financial reality in, and the girl, it was a girl, she got the exact amount. It was 860 something. Now this is a smaller thing, so we are having a contest. If you can guess how many Tootsie Rolls are in this jar, then you win it.
And that's for our viewers, right?
Yeah, that's
Our
for
viewers can
that's for
participate
our
in the
viewers.
contest. Yeah.
We're doing a contest. Got to be kidding. And this is how you got to be kidding bag. You could say you got to be kidding.
You gotta be
Oh,
kidding.
they're good. We're going to take you everywhere. But here, so this is the you got to be kidding bag. And beforehand, I pulled out of that all this thing that we have to just about end the show. But I just want to tell everybody about another town where you can go and live, and the town will give you the land if you live there. But you have to work there and create jobs. So imagine this, they're doing that today, and this one's in Iowa. But anyway.
You could go there and create robotics.
Oh, yeah.
Ready robotic.
Yeah, and they're telling you, this is all their grounds, housing for new things. So I pulled that out, and as usual, tell them about the books.
Oh my goodness,
Oh,
the
we
books.
got, yeah, the LA we did.
The books is, how many towns do we have now with these
I
police
think
activity books?
16. We just finished Great Barrington. We got another 24 requests. We're going to go visit another police station.
Another 24 requests?
Yeah, another 24
Wow.
requests, and they keep coming. We need more people to work on the books. Actually, Andrew's been working on the LA book. He's been coming up. Actually, he's been coming up with great new ideas for
Really?
all the books.
Yeah.
And Shamama's been doing drawings. Plus, we
Oh,
have
wonderful.
other people, and
Well, the
just
LA
wonderful.
book, that shows that this is not just a local project. The LA Police Department.
Yeah, that's going to be hit a
that
million people.
They asked to have this done on the other side of the
Yeah.
country. And that's
Yeah.
quite amazing,
Yeah,
isn't
we're
it?
going to be all over. We're
Right.
going to travel with you all over the world. We'll have the robots deliver the books. Never know.
That's right.
Anyway,
You've got to be kidding, really. You got
yeah.
to be kidding.
But anyway, if you
Okay.
want to, we
Good.
got those Tootsie Pops, Tootsie Rolls, not Pops.
I think that we are just about at the end of this show,
Right.
as fast as it went. And it's
Yeah.
been wonderful
Yeah,
to
thank you
hear
so
about the
much.
wonderful things you're doing
Yeah.
with robotics. I never knew half of what you told
We're
us
so
today.
proud of you.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
having
much.
It's
us.
an honor to have you as
Yeah, it is
leading
an
the
honor.
project that we're sponsoring. It's very
Actually,
good.
Shamama's brother is in the second edition of the Sharon book,
Really?
doing a page. He's
Oh,
adorable.
Oh, really? How old's your brother?
He's 6 right
Oh, that's
now.
I think he was 4 in the book.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you
So
again,
cute,
and
yeah.
we'll keep monitoring what you're doing. Love to hear more as time goes on.
Yeah, of course.
And to our viewers, thank you for watching. We're very pleased that you joined us today, and we encourage you to stay in touch with us because anytime that you have an idea, it could turn into a topic for our next show.
Right.
So we want to hear from you, and remember, this is your show, the law, your money,
And
you.